Okay, my audio's there now.
Yeah. What about mine?
Oh, that's what, you know why that happened? Because I didn't hit the let's go guest button. Oh man, I get so flustery when the tech doesn't work out. Okay, I think it's working now. Hey everybody. We're here now. This is what we're doing today. All right. Skype's showing good, chat's showing good,
Yeah,
audio's working.
I think so.
Yes. Hey, how you doing today?
I'm okay. What about you?
Good. We normally actually talk a little bit beforehand, but I'm so
Yeah.
flustered today that it's not happening. All right, so I have a little bit more of a tight stop at the end of this one than I normally do. When we are getting close to the end, I'll probably cut it 5 minutes before. Hey, everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out. I'm not seeing YouTubers in the chat, so now I'm a little nervous that it's not going to YouTube. Is anybody from YouTube here, or can anybody go check to see if the YouTube one's streaming? The restream chat is super flaky, and it's possible they're all there and the chats are just not coming through, so... Also, let's go see it. Did my tweet go out? YouTube works. Thank you.
YouTube's working.
Now I want to see if I can
just check.
pronounce. Is that Yorick de Lange? Yorick? I don't know if it's Yorick. I assume the de means it's a. Oh God, Kinmo. Okay, it's working. All right. So what are we doing today? We are picking back up on the family tree app, right? And we are trying to finish it to the point where somebody could go in and actually start building out their family tree, right? Like we're really close to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we took the notes from last time, and the notes from last time say we need to be able to update the page where you're creating a new person so that you can have a better workflow for basically if they are a parent of this or a child of this or whatever, right? So, and then we need to update the controller for that. So let's actually go see where we are. While I go kind of get this open again, would you mind, for anybody who this is their first time hanging out on one of the Family Tree app streams, could you just let them know kind of what we're working on here?
Well, we're trying to create an app, Laravel-based app, together with Neo4j, which is a graph database. And it's supposed to be simple. It's turned out not to be so simple. Family tree app where you log in, you create a user, or you create a family tree. So I don't think we've kind of figured out how we're going to start it, like whether it's the person creating a new member of their family tree and then take it from there. I think that's what we're going to work on today as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Thanks for following, Robin.
What's different about this one is that we are not using MySQL database. We are using graph database, which came with its own complications. No, not complications. What was it?
Complexities. Challenges. Yeah.
But yeah.
One of the original ideas for this was both just to try this technology, but also to potentially, if you ever went somewhere with it, to turn this into something where you could do translations and right to left and some of the stuff that's not out there in existing commercial apps like this, right?
Yeah.
But first, we just need to get the basics working, which turns out to be very complicated, especially for two people who don't actually know. Of course, I remember you, Robin, two people who don't know actually how to use this stuff. So, but we're learning.
And we've learned a lot. I mean, honestly, the other day I checked the earlier videos and I was like, oh, that's so simple. How do you know that? Like, start the graph. You need to start the graph.
Yep.
So we have learned a lot.
That's one of the nice things about these live streams is it's very easy to learn what you've learned or to remember what you've learned because you're like, oh, wow, at some point in the recent past, I didn't know how to do that.
Exactly. And I'm like, I wish I could tell you just take the video down. I don't want anyone to see this. It's so embarrassing.
Yeah, that's the history of every video I've ever made.
Oh, thanks. There's this print online forever there. That's and we didn't know anything, and yeah.
Yep.
Oh god.
Okay, so I guess there's a little bit more work to do here, which is the whole show how they're related on the people list page. So let's add that as another thing to do. Show how relationships are related when showing them on the people show page. How long till MyHeritage goes bankrupt from your competition? Just a couple months. It's ready.
Almost.
It's ready to make billions. All right, so we're logged in as Sheila. Sheila has these people associated with her, and then we can also see a graph where this is like a pre-made thing that is very cool to show the information very easily, but it's not secure. So we did this really just so I can do this, but it doesn't actually, unfortunately, this as it is right now couldn't go to production safely. All right, so what we're doing right now is we have this existing people. We want to be able to add a person, and what we'd really like to be able to do is start with the simplest adding, which I think is going to be spouse, right? Because it's a directional, you don't have to pick two parents or something. We want to add a person and show that this person is related to another person. So let's say Josephina, we want to give her a husband named Joseph.
Okay.
So name is Joseph, and I don't even know how far we've made this. Spouse of Josephina.
Yeah.
And if this just works, I'm proud of how far we made it last time. Let's see if that actually works. Okay, so Joseph here, relationships, Josephina.
There you go.
And let's go to the graph and see if they're married. Okay,
Yes,
cool.
they are.
So we had already done that last time.
Yeah.
So it's the more complicated relationships that we wanted to be able to build, which is, for example, children. So let's give them a child named something that sounds like Joseph. Named Joe. So we want to be able to create a child named Joe, but the problem is in order to do that, we need to be able to find both parents at the same time. And right now we could say child of Josephina, but we won't have Joe having the other parent.
Yeah.
And so we need to be able to do that. Interestingly, and I think incorrectly, it also decided that Adam and Eve are Joe's siblings, which I'm pretty sure is not true.
Can you check?
Nope, definitely not true. There's a lot of ways that's wrong. So let's add that. Figure out why Joe is supposed to be siblings of Adam and Eve when they're not even remotely related.
Yeah.
That was unexpected. Yeah, totally. The problem with that one is saving that one till last probably makes the most sense, but it's going to be tough to work on that one when we're in a situation where we don't know how to reproduce it because we don't know what's actually broken. So, I'm actually curious.
Let's leave it so.
Okay, let's leave it. Okay, cool. So we want to build the update the person create page so that you can pick two relationships at once. So let's go figure out how to do that.
So once you select a parent, then a second field for the second parent should appear, but it shouldn't be required in case you don't know who your second parent is.
Right. Do we have is that in Vue right now or no?
I think it is. That's what we did last time, didn't we?
We moved it to Vue. I hope so.
Yeah.
Hey, we sure did. Okay.
Yeah.
So create person.vue. So we need to have the definition. So are there any contexts in which we need to make a change other than just adding a second person? So if I'm picking child, I need to pick two parents.
Yeah.
What are the other things I could pick? If I pick spouse, I only need one. If I pick parent,
You need two as well. Well, yeah.
well, in theory, if I'm picking that I'm the parent of somebody, that doesn't, like, I don't necessarily have to pick who I'm the parent with.
What are you talking from the position of the parent or the child adding parents?
So if a child was in my system but their parent was not, I want to go add their parent. So let's say we wanted to add Joseph's parent, and Joseph had a parent named Jacob.
Okay.
And so we want to go in and add Jacob. So we want to say Jacob is the parent of Joseph. Do we need to define who Jacob's married to? Not really, right?
No, not be done.
So we just
I was thinking from the other way around. If I am Joseph and I will add my parents.
Yeah, and so that's child. So the child one will require us to have two people. Yeah. Spouse requires us to have one person. Parent requires us to have one. So really, the only thing we're doing right now is that if you pick child, allow them to add two parents. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. I'm loving your content, the past videos. Thanks, Johnny.
Thank you.
So we will basically have data that's going to be adding to or something like that, and it'll default to false. And then basically in certain contexts we want to check it, and it's really going to be defined based on this, right? So it's a computed property based on the value of this. Multiple marriages, step parents, divorces, all that kind of stuff, deaths, those all are definitely gonna
coming in the future.
One day are going to complicate things. All right, so we have a computed property named adding to, which I realize it's actually going to be like that. The interesting in Vue, I never remember which of these want which type of function definition. Do you remember easily which ones need this and which ones need the fat arrows? Okay, well, we're just going to try it like this and see if it works. So this is going to be return. So we want it to be based on this relationship field, right? And if the relationship field is equal to child,
then we need to.
Then we need to, otherwise we don't, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say right here, let's just echo out this value of adding to. Oh. All right. So what we're going to basically end up doing while we do that is we're going to have a second select. That's the exact same thing, except it's like related to 2. Really. I mean, obviously we're probably going to rename it or refactor it, but it's really just going to be the same thing but this is going to be like a v if, I guess, adding to. Right? Does that sound right to you? Okay, cool.
Yes, looks right.
And then I guess we'll also probably end up like a and. All right. Okay, so that's not working. Is this not running yet? Oof, there's some bad tailwinding there.
The one that I did. You didn't have to, be kind. Come on.
I wasn't. I thought it was me, so I didn't think I was trash talking anybody. All right, so let's actually go fix that because right now it's impossible. Okay, so is this if we're in medium width 1/2, so we don't want it to be width 1/2.
With full.
Yeah. So where's that?
Will be on the form one. Yeah, the form itself. Yeah.
So let's put that on large for now, because I'm sure it's going to make sense at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, and then once we get bigger, then we'll want it to cut down. And there's different ways to do that, but
yeah.
Okay, cool. So I was going to go over the view because we're not seeing it. I usually code. Oh, my editor. Cool. I was like, somebody's talking to me. Oh, wait, that's me talking. All right. So, okay, so we're not seeing this data. So let's hard refresh here. Why are we not? Okay, there we go. All right, so this is our adding to. It's set to false right now. And the moment we switch over to child, it should all of a sudden be true. Hey, great.
Yeah.
Look at that. So, except it shouldn't have been. Wait. Child of. Oh, it's not of relationship type, right? It's the other way around, isn't that? Child of. Oh, or maybe. Well, am I looking at it backwards? Maybe that's why we were confused earlier. Did we build it so that this is the new person is the parent of this person, or the new person has this person as their parent? Which do we actually build?
It should be possible to do it both ways, though.
Yeah, well. Let's just build one for starters, though, right? Oh my goodness. This of makes me think
somebody
that
else. Yeah,
Matt Stauffer is the spouse of spouse Jane 3. Okay, so if I'm right here,
Yeah.
then we should go to Matt Stauffer and see spouse being Jane 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? Spouse goes the same way, so that actually doesn't define anything for us. Let's do parent of. Matt Stauffer is the parent of Kane. Oh, two Matt Stauffers, right? Matt Stauffer is the parent of Kane.
Oh, yeah, I noticed this actually. I was running locally because in your controller you've got to do for the spouse relationship. That meant like that's what we need to do.
Awesome. Yeah, it turns out when you leave to do in line in your code, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So which one is that? Is that for the parent one?
Yeah, just for the parent. The child and the spouse should work.
Okay. So the child we're building right now, so it can't function. And spouse doesn't matter because it's unidirectional.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to assume that this of is the key thing, which basically just says so that if I do Matt Stauffer is the child of, then I should see this. So I think this thing right here, it shouldn't be there. Let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
All right. So that makes more sense. All right. So Matt Stauffer is the child of two people.
What is Zuzana's interest in this, or how did you coerce her into working with you? I'll leave you to answer that, Matt.
So she says, what's
how
her interest?
How did I force you?
Oh, so yeah, this project is her idea in the first place. The way I was able to coerce Zuzana and other folks is to say, hey, if you all code alongside with me, you'll have the lovely opportunity of letting the whole internet know about every mistake you've ever made and have it recorded on video in perpetuity. And so far, I've been able to get Zuzana and Caleb to do it, and other folks have volunteered to do it in the future. So somehow that is compelling to folks. But yeah, what John is saying is totally true.
Powers of persuasion.
Yeah. What John is saying is true. She's still continuing to learn Laravel. She knows quite a bit, but there's also areas that she's learning. And so she said, "Yeah, I'd be open to continuing my learning live." And then promptly decided that we were going to do graph databases, and which is something that neither of us know. So it's been a little bit more of like a group learning experience instead, which has also been lots of fun. So. All right, so we can get rid of this Boolean echoing down here. Adding to is working correctly right now. So in theory, when we come over here, it's going to work correctly where it's going to say ASDF is the parent of one other. That looks reasonable to me. Is the child of two others. That's weird. I thought I just put a margin on that. Oh, it's because it's not block probably. Let's see if I were to make it block. Okay, cool. And then if I were to say, is the spouse of, it's one person again. Cool. So that's really the only change we've made here other than making this a little bit clear. Zuzana is new-ish to Laravel. She's not new as of yesterday, but she also hasn't been using it since the earliest days like I have. So she's in between. There's some folks who hang out in the stream who know more than her and some who know less than her and some who know the same amount. Is that a good answer?
I'm just so happy to embarrass myself online. I'm just doing it all for you guys. It's okay. I'm gonna ask all the stupid questions. It's fine.
All right, so we've got this thing working here. We don't need to do any validation right now because they can choose to not fill this one out. We probably need to make sure we validate this one, which I don't know if we're actually doing right now. But let's just try this right now. All right, so we're going to create a new person. Oh, and then we need to go back over to our controller. I wonder if it would work if you make a child of two people who aren't married. It should just work. Yeah, in theory, we shouldn't need to define them as married. I mean, we don't want to enforce anything like that. Okay, so we want to go... Okay, so we need to fix our person controller. People controller. And if they... So there's that to do, so we need to fix that to do. Let's add that. Fix to-dos in the people controller.
You have it already. Oh, you've got just above update people controller and its validations appropriately.
Yeah, but that's just for the one we're working on, right?
With the to-do, but.
So we'll have to add related to right here. It's not required, right?
No.
So it's really just this. Okay, so if we create them and they're related to two existing people, this stays the same, but this is where it gets complicated because if they're related to two people, we're probably creating two of these, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like we need to do a second one, which is like if request has related to 2, then we have to build out this second relationship. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it feels like this right here is going to happen twice in some context, so we should extract this thing right here out. So let's, for now, just throw it at a private controller method until we figure out what it should be. So what are we doing? We are relating people, person 1, person 2, relationship type. I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So what do we need for here? We need person. We need the HTTP request. We need the relationship type. So what we really need instead of relationship type, we need the relationship as it comes out of the request, and it's going to be one of these 3: parent, child, or spouse. So it's going to be basically requested relationship type or something like that. And then here, this right here is going to go the same as that. Oh wait, request relationship, request related to aren't the same. Just kidding. Okay, my bad. Sorry. All right, so we need person 1 because they're right here, which is the person we just created, right?
Yeah.
Do we need anything about them other than their ID? We need their name too. Crud.
Yeah.
Oh, because we're not just relating them, we're creating as well. So I like to write out these like really nasty method names to try and figure out what we're actually doing, because that's what we're doing here. We're both creating a person, and then we're also relating them to someone. And we might just say, you know what, we just need to extract this from somewhere else. Greetings from Portugal. Hey, Johnny. So, gosh, I kind of want to separate this out into one that creates and one that relates so that we can extract it differently. What do you think about that? Or do you think we should just keep doing this? Okay.
Yeah. Should be doing one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, and we have been talking this whole time about like needing to do all the creating as a hook, right? So if we eventually move creating somebody in Neo4j to a hook, then this whole thing wouldn't make sense anyway. So let's make it a hook for now. Well, make it a private method that we think will probably going to be will end up being a hook. So create Neo4j record for eloquent person. Again, these super, super expressive method names to try and help us think about how to refactor it later. All right, so this create Neo4j record for eloquent person, and then we're going to do the basic relationship, relate people, and it's going to be basically person 1 ID, person 2 ID, and then just the relationship type, right?
Yeah.
And we can turn that into something. And then here it's going to be person 1 ID, person 3 ID. And we can figure out where those come from, right? And that's right here what we're really working on is relate people. All right, so thanks for following Evil Hunter Killer. Okay, so what we want first is this right here. Right there, right?
Yeah.
So we're building a Cypher query to just create a record for this person. Create new person, name is name, eloquent ID is eloquent ID. All right, so we've got the person's name, and then we got the person's eloquent ID. And then we cipher it, right?
Yeah.
Which makes us realize we also need to pass our client in, which is even more reason why we think that this is going to turn out to not exist in this controller, right? Eventually. All right, how does that look first creating them?
Well, confusing to start, but I understand. As you're doing it, I understand it now. It's good.
Okay,
I don't know, how are you guys seeing? Because I'm having even worse delay than before. I don't know if it's my internet, your internet,
might be mine.
or
How y'all doing in the chat? Is it pretty laggy here?
yeah.
Create new person.
So I can. The funny thing is, I can hear you speak, but then the typing kind of follows later.
Huh.
But might be just me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what they say. No lag.
No.
All right.
It's just.
All right. So we're creating a Neo4j eloquent record for the record for the eloquent person right here, and then we're relating two people. So who are our two people that we're relating? We're relating person 1, which is the person we just created, and then person 2, which is the requests. What do we do? Oh, we're pulling it right off of it there, but I think what we want to do is request input. Oop. Related to. And then the relationship type is going to come out of here. So let's just throw this in right now. And then the same thing here, person ID, except this would be request input related to 2, right? I feel like my brain is freezing a little bit here. So sounds like Rob and John and Marissa are all seeing potential stream freeze issues. So it might be my internet, might be Twitch that's the problem. Not sure. Okay, so is this working so far? Person 1 ID, person 2 ID, relationship type. Marissa says there's a 5-minute lag between it. This is wild, y'all. This is crazy.
Yeah.
7-second delay for Dev and Zara. Okay. All right, so we're pulling the create out of here, but that means that this merge is now going to have to be different because we have to rewrite the cipher to merge two people both based on their eloquent ID lookups. Which have we done that somewhere else? I feel like we've done that somewhere else. Thanks for following.
See some data. That's where the rest of the cipher thing is. But other than that.
All right. Well, let's see if. Okay, so this is what we're doing, right? So the client is Neo4j. I'm documenting these just so we know what we're actually doing here. So we're passing in the client, which both of these need.
Yep.
We're passing in an ID, which we might have to cast as an integer just so we're getting that. And then we're passing in the string relationship type. I'm kind of tempted to pass in the string that we're getting out of the request instead so that this thing can live in the method, but it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another right now. Then we're saying relate these two people. So we use the client to run a Cypher query that needs to be updated. Because right now we're assuming that we're relating it to the person, but we don't have that person yet because we just got rid of the create. And then we're merging. So we've got my goodness. Oh, so related to is a lookup, right?
Yeah.
So can we just copy the same thing and make a second lookup, or is that not how it works?
Can try.
All right, so related to is going to be person 1. It's going to be person with eloquent ID of person 1. Person 2 is going to be the person with eloquent ID of person 2, and then relationship type is going to be between person 1 and person 2, and it will get this, which is the third one, which is relationship type. The directions might be wrong, the lookups might be wrong, but in general, we kind of think.
Well, it looks right to me.
Okay.
From my limited experience.
Sweet, I love it. So we're creating person in eloquent. We're creating a Neo4j record for that person. This is the thing that we might eventually move into a hook. We're looking up the relationship type off of the request, which we, in theory, could just go fix it so that we don't have to do this lookup. You know what? Why don't we do that? Why don't we just do this now? And go in here and actually just set them to have the correct option. So that we don't have to be doing that unnecessary translation. Okay, parent of, child of, spouse of. Oh, married to. Don't know why we did married to instead of spouse of, but what the hey. All right, so we now can get rid of this entire translator here. Great. And now instead of relationship type, this will be a request input relationship. And then we also have to go back in here and not check against child, but instead check against child of. Thanks for my my excellent pronunciation of people's Twitch handles, and I'm a total professional at that. Okay, so feels like 10,000 things have changed and they'll probably all break, right? Let's read it through one more time. Validate that it exists. We should also validate that this is and that it's a valid relationship type, and that it's a real ID, and later someone I'm allowed to relate to. And same here. All right. Oh, these should be to-dos.
How would you check if it's a valid relationship type?
You'd basically say in array and then pass it the options that are allowed. Yeah. Okay. And then with these ones, you can look it up in the database. Say it exists as an ID within these tables. Mm-hmm. All right. So relate people. Pass in a client. You got person ID. You got the person ID. You've got the relationship. Person ID, relationship. And then we're going to test where this works. Okay, cool. So let's test this in Cypher, like in the actual in the client real quick, just to make sure, because I think it's going to be easier to test it in here and see whether it's working. So we want to relate two people, so let's go look them up. I'm going to censor y'all real quick so that we can, where's OBS to see that sensor's working? Sensor's working. Let's open up Table Plus. And let's open it up to my local MySQL. And then family tree. And then now I can uncensor. All right. So we want to go to relate two people manually. So let's relate Jane to, and what's that?
You still sense? Oh, you're not. Okay,
no,
that's just a delay.
So let's relate Jane 2 and Jane 3. Okay. So we're going to run a manual query. So Jane 2 and Jane 3 are 7 and 8. So person 1, person eloquent ID of 7. No, don't run it. Maybe Shift Enter does that. There we go, Shift Enter. Okay, so eloquent ID of 7, eloquent ID of 8, and then merge them with married to. Does it work? All right, so we should go in and see Jane 2 married to Jane 3. Come on. Jane 3 is married to a lot of people, but one of them is named Person. So
yeah.
That definitely did not work. Huh.
Oh, it did something.
But why is there a person named Person? I'm very confused right now.
Where is Jane 3 anyway in this crowd? There's
Jane 3 is there, but where's Jane 2?
Yeah.
Is that this one?
No.
Eloquent ID of 7. Yeah. Somehow got renamed.
It's a person.
That makes me think this lookup's not working. So let's go look at our other lookups. What can you remember? What's the name of the seeder? Seed some data?
Seed some data, yeah.
God, my most eloquent name I've ever created. All right. So this is the last time we were doing this. Create with a name and an eloquent ID. Oh, that's because when we're creating this person, we didn't create.
Pass the name.
Wait, did we or did we not? Most eloquent name ever. You see my jokes. Hey, Shadowflame871. All right, let's look at our create new person. No, we did. Look at that. The name and the eloquent ID are both being passed in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the create should be working. All right, so let's go back to seed some data and figure out why did that. That's how to delete one. How do you relate to? Like this. Merge. So this is the variable. This is the type. This is the lookup. And then this is how to use the two. That's exactly what we did.
Mm.
Okay, so let's let's start from scratch here. Because it's one of these ones where there's so much junk data in here, it's hard to know what's going on. All right, so is it just this? Seed some data?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we've got now. All right, so let's make Abel and Josephina get married using that query that we just had. So we want to use 4 and 5. So let's go over to our Neo4j desktop. Say, take person 1, 4, person 2, 5, merge person 1 married to person 2. Does this look right?
It does.
Okay. So let's run it. Created one relationship. And now let's view it. Okay. So whatever happened last time, who knows? Outcome of some other weird function or whatever.
We've got too many Josephinas there.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Okay, so in theory right now, this is written correctly. Because this is basically what we just tried out. So let's create a new person named Shmaine and have them marry Cain. So Shmaine is going to be a spouse of Cain. All right. Does that work correctly? Oh, graph, not people. My bad. Yeah. Okay, Cain and Shmaine are married. Okay, now let's give them a child, Blaine. This is my favorite part of programming.
Very creative, yes.
Blaine is a child of Cain and... Actually, hold on, let's note. We need to allow these to be... The second one to be nullable. So it's actually going to be a little bit of a different control. We didn't put a blank option in the first one, but we need to put a blank option in the second one. So that it can be null instead of having to be required. All right, so Blaine is going to be the child of Cain and Shmaine. So good so far?
Yeah.
Come on. Ah, didn't work. Okay,
No.
so the queries we expected it to run in that context did not do the job. So... why not? Okay, so let's just... Every time we're running these relationships, just run them. So we're going to now have somebody named Spain, who's their child. Just going to keep having fun with this. Spain is the child of Cain and Shmaine. And when we hit this next one, we should see them just echoed nastily at the bottom of the page. Wait, why are we not seeing it? Oh, what happened? Maybe does it redirect afterwards or something? I just didn't want to do this is basically why I didn't want to do that. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see anything there. I could have logged it and been trailing my logs, but I didn't feel like it, and now I regret that. All right, now we're going to have Flane, who's the child of Cain and Shmaine. It's so frustrating because normally you just be able to write tests for all this, but because this is all Neo4j and I have absolutely no idea how to test stuff like that. All right, so person 1 is eloquent 9. Person 2 is eloquent 3. Person 1 should be marked as a child of person 2.
It looks all right to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I would expect. So, in theory, that didn't work.
You want to paste it to Neo4j?
It's exactly what I was thinking, yeah. So let's go over to the graph and make sure it didn't work. Poor Spain, just hanging out there. Let's look at the eloquent ID of Spain. Spain is...
Flane doesn't even have a dot. What happened to Flane?
No, it's just off the screen.
Oh.
So Flane is the one we just created. And we want to make Flane the child of Cain, 3, and Shmaine, 6. So let's go run this. Watch, it's probably going to be some stupid little syntax thing that makes it not happen. And people in the chat, if we're just totally missing anything, please let us know. Okay, so merge person 1 with eloquent of 9, which is the new child, with person 2, eloquent 3, which is the parent, and then say make person 1 the child, a child of the person 2. So this should work.
Yeah.
Why is it not working?
Can you go back to seed some data and see how we did there?
Yeah. Josephina, child of Adam.
Yeah.
Wait, did they work? It didn't work.
Okay. There you go. That's why.
So wait a minute. If that's the case, why
It has never worked.
married to works, child of doesn't work? Why is that? Or is it our visualizer? Is our visualizer broken? Is it this been the whole time? Is our visualizer only showing certain relationships or something like that?
Shouldn't. If you go,
there's a thing here somewhere, right? Where do we go?
The left, go on the left, the sidebar on the left. That one, I think, is it? No, the one above. No, the one above. And just click on the child of. That should display. Oh, look at all these children.
So Josephina is the child of Adam and Eve. So it's this thing. This thing is our problem. It's been throwing us off this whole friggin' time. Let's go see if that's an easy fix or if it's just some error in that visualizer.
Yeah.
Do you know where that's even being output? Is it graph down here?
There's a page graph, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what's the controller for it?
The controller.
Oh, it's a direct view right in here. Okay, that's why. Viz, is this like a view? No, wait.
But
this is JavaScript somewhere. Sorry.
Yeah, the bit for the JavaScript, yeah.
Do you remember where it is?
No.
Look at this. It's literally only showing the married to relationships. That's why. Turns out when you don't show the child of relationships, then you don't see the child of relationships.
Do you want to add the third one as well then?
Yeah.
Parent.
Well, the main thing I'm trying to figure out here is, do we need to change the initial cipher in order to show that?
Let's see. Yeah.
Looks like we do. And now we're getting lost. You know what? Let's not rely on this. And instead, just leave a note here to future people.
And if you can add it to the Notion docs as well, so I won't remember when I go back to it.
All right. Update graph visualization to show more than just marriages. All right. This page is only showing marriages, not anything else. Save us the pain in the future. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's probably working, and this page is just not doing the job. So let's go back and assume that our code's right, and then go try it out, and then go check it in the database. All right, so we're going to refresh here. All right, so what we want to do, so we actually probably have some children here. So let's find a good Neo4j. Can we just refresh this one?
Yeah.
All right, this is a little complicated. I wish there was an easier way to organize it. Okay. So we've got Cain and Abel, both children. Oh, Cain, Abel, and Josephina, all three children of Adam and Eve. Okay, cool. So this is making sense so far. So let's not think about the whole question about who did the immediate first children of Adam and Eve marry, and if we're going to just bring a magical person in from the outside, and it'll be Abel and Shmabel. So let's go make... No, wait, we want to make children. So we need to have two people get married. So we're going to create Shmabel, who's going to be a spouse of Abel, and then we're going to create a new person called Babel, which nicknamed Babel, who's going to be a child of Abel and Shmabel. And we're going to cross our fingers and hope that it worked. Okay, so Adam, Eve, Cain, Josephina, Abel.
Look, it worked.
Married to Shmabel. Hey, look at that.
Sick, yeah.
So in theory, we can add children with two parents. Let's go test a child with only one parent. We're going to give Cain a child named Blaine with no... Well, I guess no parent wouldn't make sense because it would... Oh, because it's just because the parent is not recorded in the family tree yet. It's not as if they actually don't have a parent.
Yeah.
Okay, so a new person who's a child of Cain, and we don't have Blaine's other parent. Yep, that's what I thought. It's nullable. Because it's not like heartbreak. It's not as if... Oh, I thought you were doing heartbreak, Dustin. Yeah, it's not as if you don't have the other parents, just that they're not in the system yet. All right. What's... oh, you know what? We need to do relationship type first here, which I don't love. Because this one's the one that's nullable. No, wait. No, that's not the case. You shouldn't actually even be calling it if it's not set. Oh, you know what? I bet you it's not has. It's probably filled. I think has just shows where it exists, but it doesn't check whether it's null or not. I think that's what it is. All right. So now we're going to have this mysterious Blaine that we actually don't want in the system. So we're going to have to do... Oh, hold on. That one's not useful. We have to do Spain again, I think. I really wish I could make it like replace back in the same arrangement that I had set up each time. Yeah, Cain has Blaine. Can I delete Blaine? Is that possible? Nope. Okay. So Cain has Blaine. So let's now like make Spain and see if Spain can show up without any problems. So Spain is the child of only Cain. Can we do it without an error? I think so. Yeah, a lot of progress, Dustin. We almost have a functional thing, assuming you don't have any... Yeah, okay, cool. So you can now add a child who's only... So now, later, somebody comes along and says, oh, I do want to add the information about the mother of Spain. So now let's go in...
Yeah, what happens if you try to add it again? Is it going to duplicate the record or
That's record? A good question. Oh. So let's make Flane be the parent of only Spain.
Yeah.
So we should go to Spain. Uh-oh, it didn't work. Where's Flane? Oh, we have to add parent of into there. How do I add?
On the node label, just the node labels on the left, and then the node labels on the left, all the way to the left, up, and click on the person or the number 10. I don't know.
So we're going to do person instead of just specific relationships.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Flane is a parent of Spain. So now we have this idea where child of and parent of are inverse of each other, and that's interesting. Did I remember you asked somebody about whether it makes sense to do like should we force parent of to be to be child of instead? Because we could do that if we wanted.
I'm just thinking, does it make sense?
If anybody knows Neo4j really well right now, it'd be helpful to know. Basically, we can set it up so that if you do a parent of, it flips it and then makes an inverted child of, so that we don't end up with these parent of labels. It kind of makes sense to me to stick the same labels.
I would leave them for now.
With parent of?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
That's fine. I'm almost out of time anyway, so we should replace parent of with an inverted child of. Okay?
Yeah.
So what can we not do right now that we want to be able to do? We can create a child. We can create a child of just one parent. We can create a parent. We can create spouse.
Yeah, we can't edit any of them. We can't delete any of them. The one thing, if you click on a name on a person, we don't have the relationships there. I think that's the to-dos, how they relate it.
Yeah. Allow for marking deaths, divorces, etc. Because right now you can be married to or not married to, but you can't have a history of having been previously married to, which may not matter in the end. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know whether family trees... I guess family trees... Oof. How does that work? How do family trees handle... Do they care about marriage, or do they only care about parentage?
I think they should care about marriage as well.
Yeah. What if you try to make Cain and Flane married? Oh, yeah, you totally can do that. Which, I mean, it's not ethically or legally possible, but I guess it's like, you know, functionally possible, right? Where are we going? Over here. Yeah, because we don't have any of the constraints that make... Oh, Cain and Flane. I'm sorry. I thought you said Cain and Spain. So what if you try to make them married? Oh, yeah, you're right. You can't relate to people who haven't been created. Great. Good point.
What if two people already have a relationship? Can you add another one? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be able to.
Or adding relationships to existing users.
Yeah,
because
but there is if you've got a child and a parent, they should only ever be a child and a parent, not a spouse or.
And that's what I thought Marissa was asking. And I mean, while that is true, I mean, technically, people, have at least historically married their cousins or whatever. So, and that's what I was joking about the Adam and Eve situation, but like, if in theory there were only Adam and Eve, then there's all children are offspring of them. Therefore, the Schmabel wouldn't have come out of nowhere. Schmabel also would have been a sibling. Granted, that's not really tending to be the case, but like in theory, it could potentially be an unnecessary constraint.
Okay.
Like, write down whatever the case is, whether or not you're embarrassed of it. Polygamy. Yeah, we talked about, and polygamy is allowed in here. I don't think there's anything. We don't have, basically, whatever imaginative family situation you can come up with, we have no constraints keeping it from being the case.
No constraints at all at the moment, do we?
The only problem is, like Marissa was pointing out, we can't add relationships in this user interface once they're created. So what we would need is basically like an add relationship on a person, which would probably on an existing person. Yeah, so you basically go to, let's go to Kane. On the Kane page, you'd basically have an add relationship button and say, and it would basically be like the person page, except missing this first one. This first one would be already predefined. Yeah. So,
can you add it to the nodes before?
Yeah, I think that's this. Allow for adding relationships to existing users. So basically, e.g., on the People Show page, make an add relationship button, which shows a form similar to create person, but missing the name field. Yeah. So a lot of these actually should be moved to things to do later. So what did we actually do today? And I've got to go at 3:30, so it's basically time. We did this. So let's grab these. We updated the person page so that the form reorgs. So basically, let's reword this. Update the person create page so child allows for setting update PeopleController validation appropriately, and then almost all the rest of these are to do later. We did fix the do's in the PeopleController.
I mean, there are some things I'm going to have a go at myself. Like, I'll try to deal with the graph visualization so that it shows more than just marriages. And, I'll see. I'll see how it goes.
All right. So, but what's interesting here is that we did make it to the point, we had this kind of goal of, while on the stream, get it to the point where you can functionally add all these people. So the display needs work. But it feels to me like if you were to do this, what was the last button we just said to add? This one. Allow for adding relationships to existing users. You could build out a very robust family tree that doesn't consider death or divorce. And if we just say we don't care about marriage right now, this is purely about parentage, and you could put the marriages in if you want. You could actually get pretty far in tracking your family just with this. But the one missing thing is this adding relationships to existing users concept. So I feel like once you have that, you've got a relatively robust, entry-level data tracking type situation.
Yeah.
So, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Dustin. Parentage could be totally scientific and genetic. We don't actually necessarily need marriage. I mean, we do have this married to, but making the married to thing more robust is definitely not necessary to at least get, like, I could build my whole family tree just based on talking about who